They were dubbed the Dream Team, the greatest collection of basketball talent ever assembled, and they were on a mission to return U.S. basketball back to its once golden past. But as the Olympics began, it was obvious that they were more than just America's team, as the whole world embraced these superstars and were awed by their spectacular show. Pippen with a here's Pippen on the drive, feeding back to Drexler. Gordon with the steal. Gordon with the stop. Barkley.
The one thing we got to do, we can't look past anybody. I mean, all the work we've done, we can't mess it up with one game. So after we do our thing against Croatia, then I'm going to just be excited.
Today, the dream can become a reality as the Dream Team faces their final challenge and looks to complete their glorious run for the gold. A capacity crowd, 12,500, turning out at the Palau de Sports in Barcelona, located just outside of Barcelona. And about 2 hours from now, you can expect to be viewing the conclusion of this fabled two-week run of the Dream Team when they take the medal stand to receive their gold medals. In effect, this will be a coronation. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello. This the second meeting between the United States and Croatia. The last time they met last week, the United States won by 33 points. A game that featured the U.S. desire to put the clamps on, to stop Toni Kukoc of Croatia, considered to be the best player in Europe, and the United States certainly did handcuff Kukoc.
Well, all along, Croatia was said to be one of the teams that stood a chance of upsetting this United States team. But besides that, there were some personal agendas, in particular, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, two members of the Chicago Bulls, who had known Kukoc was offered a large contract. They felt the money could be more well spent with Chicago Bulls. So the two of them took turns guarding him and were certainly more aggressive than normal in trying to hold Kukoc to a 2-for-11 afternoon from the floor and only 4 points. After the game, Jordan felt that he'd be a nice addition to the Bulls roster. Pippen, a little more critical of the gentleman who was maybe going to take some of his money. Now, an hour prior to this game, in talking with the players in the locker room, they seemed to mention that suddenly the realization that they're playing for the gold hit them. The atmosphere there is now NBA playoff intensity coming out for this game.
And for Magic Johnson in particular, who has thoroughly enjoyed the 2 weeks here in Barcelona, winning the gold does have enormous meaning.
It's sort of hard to put in words what it all means. I mean, it's probably more so meaningful to me than any of the other guys, especially, you know, being out of basketball for a year. Thought this would never, ever happen to me again in terms of getting an opportunity, having the HIV virus. All that makes it even much more important to me. But I think that all the things I have accomplished in basketball, from 12 years, 2 years in college, 3 years in high school, 3 years in junior high, on and on and on, will never compare. If you put them all together, will never compare to this one, 2-month run for the gold.
And this has turned out to be Magic's team, what may be his last team. That's still to be determined, but the gold is about 2 hours away for Earvin Magic Johnson. Now, Mike, in that earlier meeting between the United States and Croatia, the U.S. appeared to come out a bit too pumped up. What is their mindset for today's game?
Well, this team has been on the road for a long time. After completing a most strenuous NBA season, they're very excited to be playing for the gold. At the same time, they're excited with the fact that this finally will give them a chance to pack up and go back home once again. They anticipate that Croatia will give them a much tougher game, particularly in the first half. In fact, in talking to a number of the Croatian players downstairs, they said, we got that first game out of our system. They all feel that Kukoc will play much better this afternoon. They think their team will. But in the end, USA players feel that they will just wear them down with their depth and open it up come ending of the game. One other factor. Prior to the game, Chuck Daly took a copy of a feature that NBC presented last night about the Munich loss, the controversial loss back in '72. They showed it in the locker room prior to the team coming out, and just some of the reactions from the players. Karl Malone saying, "I got goosebumps when I got done seeing it." David Robinson reacting by saying, "Really makes you think about what we're doing this afternoon."
Just a little reminder from Chuck Daly. You would think a club like this would not need any motivation, but Chuck not taking any chances at all. And here are the starting lineups for Croatia. Tony Kukoc along with Dino Radja, who was once Boston Celtic property. Stojko Vrankovic, who spent the last 2 years with the Celtics, played well against the United States last week. Drazen Petrovic, who had a hot streak in the game against the U.S. to bring Croatia within distance. He, of course, of the New Jersey Nets. And at the other backcourt position, Arijan Komazec. Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone. Up front, Patrick Ewing at center. Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan in the backcourt. Right now, let's go to Quinn Buckner for this sideline report.
Thanks a lot, Marv. When I was talking to Magic Johnson just before the game, there was an intensity in his face that I hadn't seen in some time. They thought they played well against Lithuania. Croatia is better, but Magic says we're much better too, and they're finally where they want to be, going for the gold medal, and they are intense and ready to get it going. Back to you, Mark.
All right, Quinn, in that quarterfinal game this past Tuesday, the U.S. beat Puerto Rico 115-77, and that semifinal game Thursday against Lithuania, the U.S. players felt it was their most impressive performance of the Olympics. They won 127-76. Michael Jordan broke out. He turned it from the 1-for-11 against Puerto Rico on Tuesday. U.S. scoring the first 11 points of the game. Here's Jordan. So the United States with the 2-0 lead.
The players, the coaching staff today packed in their daily golf game. They all were around the hotel. Players were up in the recreation lounge watching some movies, playing some cards. They got that extra rest they needed, so they should come out with a lot of energy here this afternoon.
Petrovic with a save. Pippen got a piece of it. Kukoc returns to Petrovic. And that's Vrankovic with the hook shot. Scottie Pippen for Patrick Ewing. And a foul call. Patrick Ewing back in the starting lineup. He was fouled by Arijan Komazec. The players on Croatia formed the nucleus of Yugoslavia, which dominated international basketball back in '89, '90, and '91. The Croatians feel that they play the best basketball outside of the NBA. They advanced to this gold medal contest with a come-from-behind win on Thursday over the unified team, winning 75-74, led by Drazen Petrovic, who had 28 points. Oh, nice touch exhibited by Dino Radja. It's been a rocky path, though, for the Croatian basketball team. Began the summer playing very poorly in the European qualifying tournament. They lost to Germany. Had to battle their way through. They were hurt because Ewing was able to connect for a 4-2 U.S. lead. They were hurt because Kukoc was sent back by pneumonia, but they turned it around, and then they just did squeak by the unified team Thursday, making it to this final game.
The unit that the United States has started, this is their best defensive unit, according to Chuck Daly. And a couple of the players, as Radja makes his move to the basket, but Ewing, the defensive play by the big man, just what they want to save the other guys. Chuck Daly, a number of the players saying they want to come out quickly. If anything, they don't want this thing to hang around.
Kukoc saved it, but it's thrown away by Komazec.
They mentioned prior to the game that you don't want to wind up coming down the stretch in a game where it's close. They'd like to open this up early before the first half.
United States with a 4-2 lead. 2 minutes have gone by. Magic on a pick and roll. Patrick Ewing and David Robinson have been quiet during this 2-week tournament. They have both been hurt by early foul trouble and have not been able to burst out.
Ewing also saying that the ankle he hurt in the playoffs still was bothering him, starting with the practices that they had and continuing on throughout play in the qualification tournament and thus far in the Olympics.
Here's Petrovic for three. And a foul is called. Foul on Petrovic.
Even though the shot is missed, Patrick Ewing, very active right now early in the game, comes with the follow, slams it back in. Guys on the bench pulling for their teammates to get it going early.
United States with a 6-2 lead. We're just underway in Barcelona. Magic got the step, hit by Kukoc, so he'll go to the line.
When Chuck Daly called practice on what was expected to be an off day a few days back, the players weren't quite sure what the purpose was. It was to get into their half-court offense, which you just saw them execute, and get the timing back down again. They hadn't practiced in a while. The games have been a blowout, so they're trying to get their half-court offensive execution together in case it winds up being a slow-down game.
Well, they called it a non-shooting foul. Jordan off the spin. Yes. Michael Jordan going glass. That's his second field goal. United States 8. And Croatia 2. The U.S. has hit 4 of its first 5. Kukoc tried to set a pick, and Petrovic ran into it. Magic pushing it down. And it's picked off by Petrovic. Kukoc on the wing. Kukoc returns. Nice pass. Arian Komazec from Tony Kukoc. And the U.S. with an 8-4 lead. Croatian coach Petr Skansi said after the win over the unified team as Jordan lost it. There's Petrovic for 3. And Karl Malone gets to it. United States with a 4-on-1. Ewing eluding Rankovic. And U.S. has a 10-4 lead. The Croatian coach Petr Skansi said after the win on Thursday that they considered Thursday to be their gold medal game. After that game, all the emotions seemed to spill out. In fact, Drazen Petrovic climbed into the stands to wave a Croatian flag that was presented to him by friends. And Stoichkov Rankovic did the same. An emotional win for Croatia because of its infancy as a nation. In light of the ongoing war being waged in what was formerly Yugoslavia. Pippen with a nice feed, and Malone is fouled.
A few moments back, as Croatia ran their version of the transition game, the fast break, Kukoc at 6'10" shows you his ability to play unselfish basketball and his ability to find open teammates.
Tony Kukoc, 23 years old. As we mentioned, a second-round draft pick of the Chicago Bulls back in 1989, and he has told us he feels that he'll be able to get out of his contract and would be interested in joining the NBA following next season.
The word seems to be he's locked in for one more season. Then at the end of that, there's a clause, a stipulation, which says if he would like to leave and go to the NBA, he can do it at that time. Kukoc last game had 5 assists, only 4 points last game, shot only 2 for 11, had 5 assists, has a tremendous ability to pass the basketball, and his size certainly doesn't hurt him any.
Yes, he goes about 6'9", 216 pounds. Kukoc doing it off the dribble. Nice lead pass for Raja. Kukoc rejected by Ewing. And here's Malone. Jordan. Ewing. And the United States up by the score of 14-4.
The same thing happened last game. Tony Kukoc would make a move, get by the first defender, but the USA big men there to cover up the mistakes outside continued to cause him problems with his shooting, either by changing or blocking shots. Kukoc, with a great first step, is able to get down the lane by Pippen, but then there's the cover-up for the defense. Ewing saving the layup. At the other end, Malone trying to put it down, just loses control, but Jordan finds it with the follow-up, and then the USA crashing the board, the size and strength of the big men up front.
Jordan called for that foul. Kukoc over Pippen. Yes, that's a three-pointer for Tony Kukoc, who looks a bit more relaxed than what took place last week. against the U.S.
That fear factor from game one is out of the way. Now these players understand what it's about playing against the United States team, and they have to come out and play with a little more confidence. But then again, so will the USA players. They understand this has been their mission. They're here in the gold medal game.
Michael Jordan's jump shot has returned. He is now 3 of 4. He has 6 points. Kukoc again a 3 attempt, and the foul is called on Pippen. So Scottie Pippen called for his first. Some very hard words from a couple of United States players following the Kukoc off performance against the United States. Charles Barkley saying he's definitely playing in the right league, referring to playing in Europe, and Karl Malone said it was a great exhibition we did not see. Michael Jordan, though, I thought was the most realistic. He said, well, look what he was facing. It was as if Tony was 1 on 5 because they were so intent on stopping him, and with the right surrounding cast with the Chicago Bulls, it would be a different story. He's not a guy who's going to carry you.
It wasn't just Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan that were focused in on Tony Kukoc last game. It was the entire USA squad. So when you get that type of talent focusing in on one player, he's probably going to be in for a very long day.
Kukoc shooting 3 free throws. He was fouled while attempting a three-pointer, and in international rules, you shoot 3 at the line. United States up by the score of 16-10. 6 minutes gone by. Here's Ewing. He's been on fire. And it's rebounded by Franjo Arapovic, who just checked in. Karl Malone knocked it away. And it's recovered by Croatia. Vlad Alanovic, who also came in just a moment ago.
Arapovic and Karl Malone had some words the last time down the floor, so Malone willing to take a foul in that last exchange.
And Croatia is hanging around, down by only 4. Pippen off the head fake. Kukoc did not go for it. Now Jordan setting it up. And the foul is called. It's against Alanovic.
You get the feeling that in a big game, the gold medal game, that for some reason Michael Jordan is going to pop up with large numbers, perhaps for the first time in the Olympics. I mean, very large numbers.
Well, he had a good one on Thursday against Lithuania, and he's off to the fast start here today. 3 of 4, 6 points.
Jordan felt he should have been shooting 2 free throws on the last foul call.
Here's Jordan. Michael Jordan got the roll, and he's given the U.S. an 18-12 lead. In recent weeks in Monte Carlo, where the U.S. team practiced to get ready for the Olympics, and here in Barcelona, Jordan had stopped lifting weights. He had been into a regular pattern. Here's Kukoc. 3-point attempt. Rebound swept by Magic Johnson. And Magic penetrates all the way. United States with a 20-12 lead. Back to Jordan. He went back to the weights on Tuesday prior to the game against Puerto Rico and told us not to make excuses, but he could not lift his arms, and it may have. That's a 3-pointer for Petrovic, but the weightlifting may have affected his shooting, and he went only 1 for 11 against Puerto Rico. You find your regular pattern of heavy lifting affects your commentary? U.S. 9 of 13 from the field. Obviously it hasn't. Alanovic. And he tried to save it, but out of bounds. The ball goes back to the U.S.
Michael Jordan not very happy that he did not get the previous call. Makes his move to the lane. Again, felt that he was hit on the shot, but gets the good roll at the end. And Magic, seeing the lane, keeps the dribble alive all the way, switches over, finishes off with the left hand.
Clyde Drexler of the Portland Trailblazers has come on, replacing Magic Johnson. United States with the ball. They lead by 5. Ewing with the room. And he is fouled. Patrick Ewing, 4 of 5 from the field. 8 points plus 6 rebounds.
Patrick couldn't decide whether to take that foul line jumper that he was so used to taking for the New York Knicks this past season, or try to get a little cute. So he put it on the floor, try to create a little bit on the move.
Foul committed by Franjo Adapovic. Now that has to be a familiar name to you, Franjo, who did not appear in the earlier game against the United States, so we did not have a chance to discuss this. Was a draft pick of the Atlanta Hawks, your Atlanta Hawks of 1987, a 7th round draft pick.
Trying to develop our international relations at that time. We picked quite a few players that year from other countries.
Patrick Ewing, after missing his first 3 free throws, able to hit, and the U.S. leads 21-15. Petrovic working off the screen. Here's Pippen leading the break. Goes to the pull-up. Yes. Scottie Pippen, who had an outstanding game against Croatia in that 33-point victory last week, connecting on his first field goal. U.S. leads by 8.
You can see Croatia, after a made shot by the USA team, controlling the tempo, walking the ball down the floor in some seconds.
The follow put home by Adapovic. Croatia down by 6. United States sweeping through the Olympics, winning all 7 of its previous games by an average margin of 45 points per game. And the ball goes to Croatia. So the U.S. not able to pull away here in the first half. We are still early. 10:44 remaining. And it's only a 6-point game. The crowd reacts as Charles Barkley, who has been the star of the Olympics for the United States, has come on for the first time.
The people's choice. Charles enters the game, acknowledges the crowd. Some not quite cheering for him, but rather jeering. But he'll put on a show. They know that, and they love him here.
Most of them love him. That's a 3-pointer for Petrovic. Charles does have his dissenters here in Barcelona. United States leads by 3. David Robinson has come on for the first time. The steal, and here's Adapovic. He blew it, but Petrovic able to put it home, and we have a 1-point ball game halfway through the first half.
With Magic out of the game, John Stockton on the bench with the broken bone in his leg, you can see that it turns the United States team into a half-court game after made shots.
Kukoc with Croatia having an opportunity to take the lead. And the foul is called. A strong move by Franjo Adapovic to the hoop. He's given Croatia a 1-point lead plus the foul.
Turnover is something that plagued the Croatian team in the first game against the United States. This time turning it around, picking up the steal, which leads to the fast break, and then the trailer down the middle finishes it off with a dunk. Adapovic.
A 9-0 run for Croatia. David Robinson called for the foul. 7-foot, 270-pound Franjo Adapovic with a 3-point play, and Croatia leads the United States by the score of 25-23. 9:35 to go in the first half. Barkley for 3. The U.S. leads by 1. Charles Barkley, who normally does not look for the 3-pointer, had the straightaway shot wide open. United States 26, Croatia 25. Here's Petrovic. Tabat is rejected. Barkley behind the back as a 3-on-2 for Drexler. The United States leads by 3.
After Barkley knocked out his first shot, the 3-pointer from the top of the circle, he turned to the entire side in the stadium and signaled them as if to say, I'm ready to play. You're in for some show from me.
Kukoc, and on a switch. Nice feed for Tabat. And Barkley tried to save it, but he was out of bounds.
Barkley, one of the players who has the ability to lead the fast break after securing a rebound, goes behind his back and then playing unselfish at the other end, finds Clyde Drexler with the bounce pass. He loves it. And after the ball went out of bounds, Barkley chased it, went over to the fans, had a little fun with them, and then brings it back.
The playful Charles Barkley. who will be amusing folks in the Phoenix, Arizona area come next NBA season. A timeout taken. 8:37 to go. First half. U.S. by 3 points. United States now leading by 5. Charles Barkley just a moment ago while we were away in commercial with a driving shot that missed, but David Robinson able to stuff it home. Petrovic with a nice lead. Pretty backdoor pass to Franjo Adapovic, who has become a factor. He has 7 points. Here's Chris Mullin, who just checked in. And he has been on a spectacular run right throughout the Olympics. Chris Mullin has certainly fit right into the international game with his three-point range. Three-point shot about 4 feet shorter than in the NBA. Here is Petrovic. Yes. And the U.S. now leads 33-29.
Petrovic one-on-one against the USA players would have a difficult time, but when you give him a screen, let him play two-man basketball, he's very, very difficult. You must get help from your big men, the screener's man.
David Robinson powering his way, and the United States leads by 6 points. 6:35 remaining in the first half. Drazen Petrovic, after sitting on the Portland bench, not getting the playing time, not happy about it for a couple of years, moving on to the New Jersey Nets. And Petrovic had an outstanding season with the Nets last year, averaging 20 points per game. The U.S. clinging to a 3-point lead against Croatia. Make it a 5-point lead as David Robinson has the tug. 6 points for Robinson, and the United States center tandem of Robinson and Ewing contributing here against Croatia.
Both Petrovic and Kukoc are players that you want to force to put it on the floor, make them beat you off the dribble. The problem is you have to try and keep them in front of you. They like to shoot three-pointers, and their philosophy today is get behind the three-point line, extend the USA defense, make them come out and play it.
Petrovic. Interestingly, Petrovic is now guarding by his one-time Portland teammate, Clyde Drexler. Foul's been called. It's against Croatia. It's on Tabak. And a hand for Franjo Adapovic, who will sit down. He'll get a rest. Prior to today's game, he played only 26 minutes in these 2 weeks of Olympic competition. Did not face the unified team at all in the semifinal on Thursday.
In the last game against the United States team, he played only 3 minutes in that game, had no significant numbers other than 2 personal fouls.
Nice move by Barkley. It counts at the foul. Charles Barkley will go to the line.
And Barkley in a one-on-one situation is going to be most difficult to stop unless you get a little bit of help. If you let him go baseline, you must get a defensive rotation. But with his strength, he still takes it over the top of 2 players. First Raja, and then Tabak as he rotates over and then signals to the crowd, I am here and ready.
John Tabak called for the foul. He'll sit down. Stojko Brankovic checking back in. The United States has hit his last 5 shots. Barkley seeking to complete the 3-point play. And the United States is up now by the score of 40-32. Early on, they led by as many as 10, but it's been close. Croatia came from behind. They had a lead briefly. We're coming up on 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Open shot for Dino Raja. Dino Raja, a second-round draft pick of the Boston Celtics back in 1989, but chose to remain a professional in Europe. U.S. by 6. Robinson now up front, along with Barkley and Mullin. In the backcourt, Johnson and Drexler. And again, a Croatian foul. Right throughout the Olympics, the United States has been in command. Take a look at this. Minutes with the lead, 267 for the U.S. So it is most unusual to see the U.S. trailing, in particular midway through the first half, as we saw here.
But to a man, each one of the USA players felt, in speaking with them early today, after their morning practice and before the game, that during the first half in particular, Croatia would hang in there and it would be a relatively close game.
Barkley guarded by Raja. Magic Johnson. Pass intended for David Robinson. Milanovic. Kukoc, nice move. Finished off by Raja.
That's what Tony Kukoc can do in traffic. Find open teammates, and then with his size, he gets a great look up over the top. 5 assists for Tony Kukoc. Somewhere in this land, Chicago Bulls general manager Jerry Krause has a smile on his face. Chris Mullin continues his extraordinary shooting, and the United States leads by 7. And the USA team has been trying to post either Robinson on one side or Barkley on the other side. The problem is that there's not much spacing taking place because this is different than the NBA. You do not have illegal defensive calls. You can play wherever you want defensively. Nice catch by Barkley. That pass was tipped. And the U.S. leads by 9. Charles off the bench for 8 points. Comes in averaging just under 20 per game, among the leaders in the Olympics. A 10-4 U.S. run. They've hit their last 7 from the field. Kukoc now guarded by Johnson. Kukoc with the step, and he's fouled. If you can control the backboards and get good lead passes, and with a 6'9" point guard leading the way, you're going to wind up with some easy scores. Barkley doing it inside, outside with a three-pointer, and then in transition at the other end of the floor. 3:28 remaining in this first half. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Quinn Buckner from Barcelona. The U.S. and Croatia playing for the gold medal. Kukoc trying to dump it off, broken up by Robinson. Barkley with the lead for Mullin. Behind the back for Drexler. Chris Mullin never seems to be playing hard. He just gets done what he has to. Either makes an open shot, squeezes a shot up under an arm of a defender, or finds an open teammate. That time, just the bounce pass to a trailer coming in. Chris Mullin, a member of the 1984 gold medal winning team in Los Angeles. Robinson got a piece of it. Barkley behind the back for Drexler. He finds Mullin. Touch pass to Magic for 3. Yes! And the United States has opened up a 50-36 lead. That entire sequence, starting with the block shot by David Robinson to save Charles Barkley, to the way the United States team passed the basketball that time, cross-quarter to Mullin, who then fires it back out to the top. Kukoc had a 3, but changed his mind, and it was last touch by the United States. The U.S. has hit its last 9 from the field. The deflection that time by David Robinson, Barkley taking off on the break, and then Mullin dropping it with the behind-the-back bounce pass to Clyde Drexler. 2:20 to go. First half timeout taken. Minute and a half remaining in the first half. Clyde Drexler able to convert. U.S. now leads 54-38. While we were away, Dino Raja hit a side jump shot for Croatia, and Magic Johnson was able to tip one home. So it is a 16-point lead for the United States, but Croatia has given the United States a game here in the first half. They actually gave the U.S. its most difficult game of the summer, relatively speaking, losing by only 33 points last week. Here's Petrovic. And it's knocked out of bounds by Petrovic. The next closest that anyone has come to the U.S. during the Olympics, Puerto Rico, which has lost twice by the margin of 38. The game against Croatia, however, was far more competitive than either of the games against Puerto Rico. Pretty pass. Johnson returns. Robinson is fouled. USA was trying to get Magic down into the low post, into his post-up position. Once it gets inside to the Magic man, he knows where everyone is on the floor, has eyes all over the place. It's a matter of him just finding a teammate. This time it happens to be David Robinson. Magic man, eyes behind his head sometimes, knows where every player is and where they're supposed to be. If you're not there, he'll let you know. U.S. up 55-38. And David Robinson extends to a 56-38 lead. We're just under 1 minute remaining in the first half. U.S. now with Robinson, Barkley, and Mullin up front. Tomasek.
And the foul is called. Since the entrance of Charles Barkley, this game has taken on a different tone. The United States struggling. Croatia had taken the lead. Barkley came on, hit that three-point shot, and in limited time he has scored 10 points, hitting 4 of 5 from the field.
Well, more than one player from an opposing team has said in this tournament they just don't see any players like a Charles Barkley. That size, that strength, the ability to rebound, block shots, dribble at the length of the floor, make bounce passes, behind the back pass, shoot three-pointers. He's an unusual specimen.
Yes, he is. 56-40. United States with the lead. Magic trying the three. And out comes Roger in a 4-on-1. Goes all the way. Roger goes 6'10", 240. But as you saw, he can certainly handle the ball.
Well, last game against Croatia, the halftime score was a 17-point advantage for the United States team, 54-37. Right now, 56-42.
Time is running down in this first half. And Magic playing the clock. Down to 5 seconds. Barkley played by Roger. Barkley forced it. And that's the end of the half. Charles Barkley claiming that he was fouled. Ushered aside by Magic Johnson. Croatia at one point led 25-23. The U.S. has led by as many as 18, and at the half, they lead by 14.
The head fake to get the defensive player in the air, then Barkley steps into him a little bit, fires it up thinking that he's going to get the free throw attempts. But, Charles, this is not the NBA, it's not Philadelphia or Phoenix. You're not going to get that call here.
Charles Barkley, the high man for the U.S. with 10 points, 9 apiece for David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Drazen Petrovic leading the way for Croatia with 12. Dino Raja has 10. Tony Kukoc with 9 and 5 assists. We'll be back with the second half a little bit later on. Back in Badalona, Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Quinn Buckner. U.S. having a tough time. Only a 14-point lead over Croatia at halftime. Let's go over to Quinn.
I'm here with Coach Chuck Daly. Coach, what seemed to be the problem? Guys didn't get the same start they had in the previous game.
We were a little flatter. We weren't as aggressive defensively. And they have a good game plan. They're going to walk the ball. They've made shots. We've given up 4 for 8 threes. We've got to be more aggressive defensively and push the ball. We look a little flat. We look around a getaway game in the NBA waiting to go home, and we better pay attention.
You got a good group out on the floor, but I noticed Larry Bird didn't play. Is he injured?
No particular reason. It's just one of those coach's decisions.
All right, Coach. Good luck to you. Let's go back to Marv.
All right, Quinn. And as you saw, Larry Bird is starting the second half. Scottie Pippen with a reach-in foul, looking for the steal on Dino Raja. The United States did shoot 70% from the field in the first half. Larry Bird did not play at all in that first half, and he's starting up front along with Patrick Ewing and Scottie Pippen.
I think Chuck Daly is trying to open up the defense a little bit of Croatia. They've played a soft man-to-man defense, trying to combine a little bit, as Roger does, a little up and under move, combining a little bit of zone and man-to-man tactics, basically trying to clog up the passing lane so that the USA cannot pass the ball inside easily by inserting Larry Bird to the lineup. You bring another perimeter guy in, another three-point shooter to open up.
U.S. is led by as many as 18. And that is a backcourt violation. Croatia with a 10-0 run at one stretch midway through the first half did lead 25-23. And later on in the half, the U.S. with a 21-6 spurt were able to extend to an 18-point lead. Michael Jordan putting the moves on Drazen Petrovic. Rebounded by Pippen. And Jordan drew the foul. As I mentioned, the United States did shoot 70% from the field, 23 for 33. And the first half, led by Barkley, 4 of 6, including 1 from downtown. And Croatia, 16 of 35, 46%.
And a big plus for the Croatian team, the fact they only had 4 turnovers in the first half. And talking with a number of their players prior to the game, the first point they mentioned, and obviously the coach helped remind them of this, was the large number of turnovers they had in the last game against the United States team.
The U.S. by 16. Drazen Petrovic has led the way, 5 of 11 from the field for 12 points, using the pick from Brankovic. Nice move on a crossover, but picked up by Ewing. Roger tried to return it. And here's Jordan in the open floor. 12 points from Michael Jordan.
The player with the toughest matchup right now is Magic Johnson. By changing the lineup and bringing Bird in, what happens now is Magic must stop Petrovic, and that's a tough assignment for him.
Adanovich with the ball being guarded by Jordan. Shot clock down to 9. And the whistle away from the ball. It's against the U.S.
Unusual to see Patrick Ewing leading the fast break. Does a good job. Gets it to the right man. The best finisher in the league, Michael Jordan. And Michael with a little extra something on this one.
Foul was called on Magic Johnson. Bird able to tip it over to Magic. Here's Pippen putting the ball to it. Yes, and it counts. Foul on Stoico. Vrankovic, his second.
Oh, and by the way, not another bad finisher from the same Chicago Bulls team. Get it to Jordan, get it to Pippen. They usually have the same type of results. The finish at the end, and now the opportunity for the three-point play for Scottie Pippen.
Stoico Vrankovic got a piece of Scottie Pippen. Stoico, member of the Boston Celtics, although he rarely played, a clear-cut 12th man the past 2 years. For a while, Dave Cowens, the one-time Celtic star, was working with Stoico. He was just trying to get him to put the hands up on defense. Try to use all of the 7'1". Foul committed by Pippen.
What Tony Kukoc does is he gets you out of your stance. That time, just by raising the ball up over his head and threatening to shoot the three-point shot, it got Pippen to straighten up a little bit, then his ability to put it on the floor. Michael Jordan, by getting down in the stance the way he is right now, making a statement that he's ready defensively to get after it.
Roger rushing the shot. 7-0 run by the U.S. opening up the half. Bird gives it up to Jordan. Kept alive by Magic. And back comes Croatia. Petrovic putting the move on Bird. U.S. leading 63-44. Fast break the other way. Yes, and it counts. And Magic will go to the line.
From the beginning of that play, Magic Johnson knew that he had to move over to the right side of the floor. He started out on the left side, but he saw that Michael Jordan had the left lane filled. There you just saw Magic cross in front, and then the layup opportunity right there with a little up and under move. He loves it.
Foul called on Vrankovic. That's 3 on Vrankovic. Bird getting it back out. Magic getting it over to Ewing. And the rebound put home by Scottie Pippen. United States 67 and Croatia 44.
Chuck Daly felt that he could start Larry Bird this half because between Jordan, Magic, and Pippen, normally the 3 perimeter guys, he had enough rebounding right there.
Oh, look out. Ewing getting a piece of Petrovic, swiping for the ball, and he's called for the foul. That's the second committed by Patrick Ewing. And it was a 3-point attempt, so Petrovic will go to the line to shoot 3.
On the right side of the screen, Ewing out challenging, and one of the points of emphasis for this USA team by Chuck Daly was to get out and challenge the 3-point shooters, make them put it on the floor, make them take it to the basket, because we have the shot blocking ability underneath to cover up for one another.
Drazen Petrovic second in Olympic scoring behind Brazil's Oscar Schmidt. Magic Johnson ready to head up court. He did not realize it was 3 shots for the 3-pointer. There's Oscar, 25 points per game. Drazen Petrovic just under 25. Arvydas Sabonis of Lithuania 23-4. Charles Barkley leading the U.S. 18 per game. And the United States with a 67-46 lead. 2:45 in second half.
Here's the spread. Michael Jordan one-on-one kicks out to Magic for the 3.
And Pippen could not hold on. Magic Johnson back in the starting lineup. Missed 2 games with a pulled hamstring. The injury sustained against Croatia. This is 3rd straight start, and he has been hitting the 3-point shot. Petrovic with the step, and a good play by Pippen to break it up.
Because Pippen covers so much ground, he starts to come and rotate over, but then he just gives a little bit of ground. He has the long wingspan, and he bothers your passing lanes. You think he's going to block the shot, and then he takes your pass away as well.
And the matchup has continued with Scottie Pippen going against Tony Kukoc. Tipped home by Kukoc. He has 11. And the U.S. is up by 19. Oh, Jordan lost his man. He was able to beat Petrovic.
Well, when your point guard is 6'9" and looks over the defense that easy, and then you have Michael Jordan as the recipient of the pass who jumps so well, you cannot afford to turn your head, which Drazen Petrovic just did.
U.S. leading 69-48. Milanovic gets it back out to Kukoc. Shot clock at 10. Kukoc hits the three. Tony Kukoc is now 3 out of 4 from downtown, and the United States leads by 18. Patrick Ewing, rebounded by Dino Radja. Petrovic leading Brankovic. Rebound Radja. So a spurt here by Croatia, U.S. 69 and Croatia 53.
Croatia doing a good job 2 times in a row. They've come to the offensive boards and produced points after missing the initial shot. USA must help on the defensive glass.
Pippen looking to feed Ewing. 4.5 gone by. Second half. We'll be right back. All right, while we were away, we apologize for the short timeouts in international play. Patrick Ewing hit on a drive and was fouled, hit the free throw. Stojko Brankovic with a block of Michael Jordan. Jordan just went right back at him, and then Brankovic got a piece of it, was called for a goaltend. Jordan with 10 points in this second half. Michael leading the way now with 18, and the United States has a 74-53 advantage. 14:20 remaining in the game.
Michael Jordan doing a little talking to Drazen Petrovic along the baseline.
And Drazen, it should be pointed out, in his NBA play, also one of the excellent trash talkers, and we say that with affection. Bird with the strip of Petrovic. Magic with the away, try to take it all the way. Pippen with the rebound. Got it over Brankovic. Brankovic playing with 4. He was looking for his second block of the day.
Magic lost a little bit of the rise right there, trying to get up on that layup.
United States 76, Croatia 53. Kukoc trying to do it off the dribble, but stopped by Pippen. Petrovic for 3. And Roger called for the climbing foul. We've touched on the Tony Kukoc Chicago Bulls relationship with the Bulls. GM Jerry Krause trying to sign Kukoc while Scottie Pippen awaited his new contract 2 years back, and we talked about that with Michael Jordan.
The implications at that particular time, whenever they were talking about getting Tony and not having Scottie's contract done, it worried on Scottie, and it kind of hindered him in a sense in his play, and he just really didn't concentrate on the game that much, and I thought that was a mistake. I don't think anybody was against Tony. I just felt that before you can take care of anybody outside the country, you got to take care of your players at home.
And as you listen to Michael Jordan talk about the Kukoc-Pippen situation, Michael hits again, 9-0 run by the U.S. They now lead 78-53. Tony Kukoc certainly has turned it around from his performance in the earlier meeting against the United States. The steal by Pippen, and here's Magic. Biggest lead of the game for the U.S.
Well, the United States has turned it up a notch defensively. Michael Jordan is chasing Drazen Petrovic all over the floor, making it difficult on him. The big men are out, stepping out on the screen, something they were not doing in the first half. Chuck Daly obviously got his point across, and you've heard Magic, Michael, and Pippen all yelling, get up there, meaning show on the screens.
Pretty move by Kukoc going to the left hand. He now has 16 points along with 6 assists. Magic with a gorgeous bullet pass for Pippen. It counts, and the foul. Adapovic called for the foul. Pippen will go to the line.
Let's go back a moment ago to the save by Scottie Pippen. He knows someone's going down the floor, and it happens to be the Magic man, Ervin Johnson, with the layup on the nice feed from Scottie. And then the bullet pass underneath, draw the contact, keep the concentration, and then go to the free throw line and try to make it a three-point play.
Scottie Pippen has 9 points. Adapovic coming on, replacing Brankovic, who picked up a 4th personal foul. United States leading 83-55. 8 minutes gone by in the second half of this gold medal game. Mlanovic on the recovery. Rebound Raja. Lost it. Recovered by Petrovic. Excellent defensive work by the U.S. Here's Magic. Getting it to Bird. Magic went flying. He's all right. Pippen. U.S. 85 and Croatia 55.
When you let Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen freelance at the defensive end of the floor, they're like 2 center fielders, 2 middle linebackers. They're able to go wherever they want and make things happen, cause havoc, create turnovers. That's what they do in the Chicago Bulls defense. That's what they're doing in these last couple series defensively for the United States team.
16-2 run by the United States. They've outscored Croatia 29-13 here in the second half. Raja is hit by Bird. 11-11 remaining in the game. We'll be back in a moment. The U.S. with an 87-56 lead. Michael Jordan hit a short jump shot a moment ago. He's 14 of his 22 have come in the second half. This New York Knicks coach Pat Riley taking in all the action. One of his players, Greg Anthony, by way of Nevada, Las Vegas, coming off his rookie season. Greg will go anywhere to see a basketball game.
Chris Riley, Pat's wife, to his left, all right.
Can you be more specific? Mike Dunleavy, now the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, after handling the Los Angeles Lakers, taking over for Pat Riley. U.S. with an 89-56 lead. Petrovic guarded by Jordan, now by Pippen. This is Perasovic, who just checked in. Kukoc loses to Jordan. Took it away from the blind side. Magic with the look away. And back comes Perasovic for Kukoc. 3-on-1. The lead thrown beautifully for Raja. Dino Raja and Tony Kukoc combining. 15 points for Raja. High speed from Kukoc. And again, it's Raja.
Well, very similar to what Magic Johnson is able to do with his size at 6 feet 9 inches tall. When you play the point out in front and you have a much smaller defender, you look over the top and you find open teammates.
Kukoc now has 8 assists. Perasovic, met by Pippen, gives back to Kukoc. Petrovic, yes. United States 89, Croatia 62 with just under 9 minutes to go in the game. The gold medal game of the men's basketball competition. Patrick Ewing going glass. Croatia advancing to this final game with a come-from-behind win on Thursday over the unified team. They won 75-74. Tony Kukoc hitting a critical 3-point field goal. Drazen Petrovic led the scoring with 28 points. That's a 3-pointer. U.S. 91 and Croatia 65. Larry Bird not able to get into it here in the second half, has not seen much of the basketball. Ewing is stopped and he is fouled.
Let's go back a few moments ago in the game to show you the versatility of Tony Kukoc. On the fast break, when you find the big man Kukoc, he will give it back up. He's not concerned about how many points he scores. And then the point guard at 6'9", looking over the top. Jordan's hands were down. The pass goes through. Another 2 for Raja.
Crowd reacting as Chuck Daly is Done some shuffling. Magic Johnson here. The applause, as is Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird. Patrick Ewing staying on the floor, but a new unit has come on. Charles Barkley along with Chris Mullin, Clyde Drexler, and John Stockton playing for the first time today. John Stockton playing short stints the last 3 games after being sidelined since back in late June when he was injured in the Tournament of Americas in Portland. Cracked a bone in his right leg. There's John of the Utah Jazz. John Stockton led the NBA in assists for the 5th straight year, averaging just under 14 assists per game. Now David Robinson for Patrick Ewing. A strong game for Patrick Ewing. 6 of 10 from the floor, 15 points, 6 rebounds. High man, Michael Jordan with 22, and he's done most of the damage here in the second half. Drexler, bothered by Petrovic. Petrovic knocking it away, but it's picked off by Stockton. Here's Stockton.
I think John was expecting to be that wide open on the return pass. Kind of stopped, looked for somebody to drop it off to. There was nobody there but a wide open rim in front of him.
Now Kukoc met by Mullin.
This is a tough assignment right here for Chris Mullin.
Robinson's outlet handled off the deflection by Mullin. We come up on 7 minutes remaining in the game. United States up 92-65. Had some difficulty in the first half. Midway through, Croatia had a 25-23 lead. Barkley. Charles has 12 points. And for Charles Barkley, that's 138 points during the course of these Olympics. Here's Raja. He's had the touch. 19 for Raja. 138 points for Barkley, the most ever by a U.S. men's player in the Olympics in 1 year. Michael Jordan had 137 in 1984, also in 8 games. So it's been a entertaining couple of weeks for Charles here in Barcelona. Prior to that in Monte Carlo, but he has certainly done it on the court. 6:18 remaining in the game. U.S. with the big lead, 94-67. Back in Barcelona, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Douglas on hand. Moments ago discussing the intricacies of the NBA salary cap with Pat Riley. 5:41 remaining in the game, and the U.S. now leading by the score of 96-70. Drazen Petrovic at the free throw line for Croatia. Petar Skansi, the coach of the Croatian team, said the other day that he feels that the U.S. team would beat any NBA team, any of the 27, by the same scores that they are beating the national teams here. Drexler with 8 points. So he takes a look at the scores, particularly the losses to the U.S. Croatia losing in the earlier game by 33. Expected, no question, he said, we're going to lose here today. But he reasons that he has no reason to be upset. And actually, he makes an interesting point. If you took the U.S. team, I would give the Chicago Bulls the only real shot. That is with Jordan and Pippen in their lineup. Here's Drexler. And the United States leads 100-71 in a genuine, intensely played series with NBA teams going up against the Dream Team. I don't know what your thought is on that, Czar, but I think they would beat most of the clubs in the NBA by big margins.
Well, let me ask you this. If you take Jordan and Pippen and put them back, as Dino Raja hits another jumper, you put them back on the Chicago Bulls team, then you don't have the complete Dream Team anymore. How are you going to do that?
No,
you can't make up games. You know, you can't do that.
In other words,
so you're trying to have both teams.
Yeah. In other words, you don't want to discuss this Peter Scotsy idea. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to throw it out there for you.
Thank you.
And he had very nice things to say about you also. 4 minutes remaining in the game. Nice touch for the first time shown by Parasovic, Velimir Parasovic. David Robinson called for a traveling violation.
Charles gets a hand in there just enough to knock it free, and then when you get him on the run, Clyde leading the way, finishes it off.
I thought perhaps with you having nothing to do the rest of the summer, you might be able to generate a little tour with NBA clubs going up against the Dream Team, minus the players from those NBA teams that they will play against. You don't want to get into that.
I'd rather not at this time.
Stockton with a shovel pass to Drexler.
I think part of the reason that he made the statement is that the scores in the last couple McDonald's Opens have been much closer with NBA teams playing teams from other countries, and the fact that a three-pointer hit downtown by Parasovic, the fact that the scores have become much closer. This is an all-star team in his opinion, the Dream Team, and therefore if you just go back to the regular NBA teams, the club teams, these teams would hold their own against them. That's his thinking.
Although I think on a regular schedule basis, as Barkley hits the three, and the U.S. leads 105-79.
Charles turned to the bench that time after he knocked out the three-pointer. He's got the entire Croatia bench laughing right now. Whatever he said, they cracked them up after the three.
On a regular schedule basis, I don't think any of these national teams could play consistently with the NBA club. Mullen. Croatia would be the one team, maybe Lithuania, but you're talking about a Lithuanian team that would include Šarūnas Marčiulionis. They would do decently. Well, no one else in this tournament.
What you get back to is the depth factor once again. When you get past the first 5 or 6 players, the players in the NBA, numbers 7 through 12, probably will be better players than the 7th through 12th man on the other teams, and that's where they will wind up opening the score up against them. And that time a foul taken on purpose by Clyde Drexler to enable the substitution to take place, to let Charles come out of the game, and the crowd acknowledging what Charles Barkley has done in the tournament.
Charles hearing the response, a very favorable one. Barkley in hitting that last three-pointer, 7 out of 8 from three-point range these 2 weeks here in Barcelona. Christian Laettner has come on. U.S. leading 107-80. And we're only minutes away from the United States being presented with the goal. 2:12 to go in the game. Drazen Petrovic at the free throw line. And Petrovic indicating the timeout. And that is an official timeout. And Drazen also hearing the cheers as he departs, leaves with 24 points. Substitution made by Croatia.
And the way Petrovic just came out of the game is he pointed down to his knee or ankle and told the official that he's either cut or injured, and that's how he stopped the game and brought a substitute in.
Mullen hitting the three, and he's fouled. So the potential 4-point play run it through by Danko Civetta-Chanin. And Mullen to the free throw line.
Remember, if you're fouled on a three-point attempt and it does not go in, you take 3 free throws. If it does go in, go to the line and try for a 4-point play.
Chris Mullen is 4 of 4 from the field. That includes 2 from downtown, and he now has 11 points. United States 111, and Croatia 80, just under 2 minutes remaining in the game. Parasovic along with the rebound, and a reach-in foul has been called on Croatia. So the United States players able to celebrate. There were some anxious moments in the first half, although you never really had the feeling that there was danger. But Croatia, midway through the first half, did lead by the score of 25-23.
Just how close was Chuck Daly to calling his first timeout of the tournament?
Yes, he has gone through all 8 games without calling a timeout.
To a man, each player on this team has praised how Chuck Daly and the staff have handled them. The fact that you have a collection of all-star players here, the egos, the salaries that they're involved with. And Chuck, according to the players, knew when to back off, let them have their own way, and yet knew when to crack the whip and have the hard, tough practices. The time that they put on the floor in practice, the players felt were very demanding minutes. Chuck trying to get the most out of them, knowing that it was going to be limited to a certain number of times only.
Nice move on the crossover, setting up Perasovic. And Stockton able to get to it. Deflected out by Croatia. A minute 20 remaining in the game. Drexler and Stockton out the guards. Malone, Leitner, Mullen up front. And Leitner's drive draws the foul. So Christian Leitner, who will be a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves, goes to the free throw line, and the crowd is chanting USA. US up 115 to 80. We wind down, 1 minute remaining. Alan Gregor, 22-year-old point guard, able to get into the scoring column. United States up 115-83. Karl Malone. High point man of the game, Michael Jordan with 22. Charles Barkley, 17. Patrick Ewing with 15. Drazen Petrovic leading Croatia with 24. Dino Roger with 23. Nice touch.
So the first time these two teams met, a 33-point win for the United States. Right now, as the clock runs out, USA holding a 32-point advantage.
And John Stockton dribbling out the clock. Final seconds. The U.S. has defeated Croatia 117 to 85, and they have, as expected, won the gold here in Barcelona. Congratulations all around the Croatians and the United States players. Talking things over, we saw Larry Bird and Stojko Vrankovic getting together once again. They walked out arm in arm the last time these two clubs met. Teammates as members of the Boston Celtics last couple of years.
Also notice how when the game ended, John Stockton dribbling the clock out. The official came over to take the ball. John Stockton tucked it under his arm and said, "No, I'm sorry. There's no way you get this one back."
And a standing ovation for Magic Johnson and the United States men's Olympic basketball team. Coming up in just a moment, we will have the medals ceremony here in Badalona. But first, we'll pause for some commercial words and then hear from Dick Enberg. We'll be back in just a moment.
We had wonderful games. I think these players, they gave not only a lesson to the world how to play the highest basketball, also they gave a lesson of fair play, good behavior, and friendship.
Indeed, fair play and friendship they brought to all of Spain and all that love basketball. One other item before we get back to the basketball medal ceremony. As Marv and Mike told you earlier, Lithuania defeated the unified team to win the bronze medal 82-78. This was an emotional matchup between one of the former Soviet republics and the team that comprises the former Soviet Union. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. The game was intense. Asked Lithuanian player Valdemiras Chomishis. First half, Atlanta Hawks' Alexander Volkov pulls the unified team to 27-26. But in the second half, Sarunas Marciulionis, the Golden State star, he had 29 in the game with this breakaway to give Lithuania a 43-40 lead. And Arvydas Sabonis, the big guy, had 27 for Lithuania. 2 here as the Lithuanians take the bronze 82-78. And they took the series with the unified team 2 out of 3. Vladas Gerastasis, the coach for Lithuania, getting the traditional celebration. And that was just not an ordinary win. Lithuania was rooting hard for Croatia in the semifinals to beat the unified team so that they'd get a chance to play the former USSR teammates once again. They had beaten them in the pre-Olympic games, and they lost earlier in the Olympics, so this was the rubber match. And of course, Lithuania very proudly will go home with that bronze medal, and it'll be all the more important to them because they beat their former Soviet teammates to take it. Well, we'll return to the medal ceremony, the Dream Team picking up the golden hardware. But first we pause for these messages.
Welcome back to Barcelona. Moments ago, U.S. defeated Croatia 117-85. The medal ceremony is coming up in just a moment. But first, let's go to Mike Fratello, who is alongside Chuck Daly, coach of the gold medal winning U.S. Olympic basketball team. Mike?
Thank you, Mark. Chuck, first of all, congratulations. Did you ever feel threatened throughout the entire tournament?
Well, there were about 3 times in all, and one of them was tonight in the first half. But I made kind of a promise about trying not to call timeout. I wanted to do that for 2 reasons, and the main reason was that I think it helps the other club. I thought our depth would really hurt them, and most clubs got fatigued. We were able to run on them.
Even when you were down, were you close to calling that timeout?
I was close at home or any of the games I would have, but not tonight.
What was the toughest thing for you to deal with throughout the entire experience with this team?
Well, in reality, it wasn't really that tough. Everyone made it so easy for us in Barcelona, in the States, all the people surrounding. I'd say the only thing is being careful about minutes and making sure that you don't bruise any egos. And I thought overall we did a pretty good job.
And your most memorable part of this whole experience?
I would have to say the professionalism of the players and the willingness to give up the ball and do all the things necessary, play defense, all the things that we as coaches would call the purity aspect of basketball.
Well, Chuck, again, congratulations, and you realize it's going to be a little bit different next year in New Jersey with the Nets. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Mark.
All right, Mike, final score again. United States 117, Croatia 85. Smallest margin of victory, as it turned out, for the U.S. during the course of the Olympics. Some milestones, though, were accomplished along the way. The only players coming into this year's Olympic basketball, the only players to win an NCAA title, Olympic gold, an NBA title, our Quinn Buckner, along with Casey Jones, Michael Jordan, Clyde Lovellette, Terry Lucas, and Bill Russell. However, add to that group a 7th name, Earvin Magic Johnson. He now the 7th player ever to win an NCAA title, plus an NBA championship and the Olympic gold. In USA men's basketball, the only 2-time Olympic gold medal winners, there you see the list: Bertie Halverson, Bill Haugland, Bob Curlin. And now you can add the names Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, and Chris Mullin. They are 2-time Olympic gold medalists, doing it in 1984 and 1992. And Larry Bird, in winning the gold, becomes the oldest Olympic basketball gold medalist at 35 years of age. The gold medal ceremony is getting underway, so we'll join with the public address.
Match Olympic da basketball masculino. Juan Antonio Samarán, presidente del Comité Olímpico Internacional. Excelentísimo señor Kemban Valle y el señor Borislav Stankovic, miembros del Comité Olímpico Internacional, acompañados por el señor George Kilian, presidente de la Federación Internacional de Baloncesto.
Les médailles seront remises par M. Johan Anthony Samarin, président du Comité Olympique International, et M. Keva Mbay et Borislav Stankovic, membres du Comité Olympique International, accompagnés de M. George Kilian, président de la Fédération Internationale de Basketball.
The introduction of those who will be presiding over the gold medal ceremonies, including Juan Antonio Samaran, the president of the International Olympic Committee, and Boris Stankovic, executive director of FIBA, the Federation of International Basketball. He is to international basketball what David Stern is to the NBA, and they will preside over the medal ceremony.
El senyor Evan Valle i el senyor Borislav Stankovic, membres del Comitè Olímpic Internacional, acompanyats del senyor George Kilian, president de la Federació Internacional de Bàsquetbol. Campeó olímpic i medalla d'or.
Champion olympique et médaille d'or.
Olympic champion and gold medalist.
Campeón olímpico y medalla de oro, el equipo de los Estados Unidos de América. Integrat per Christian D. Lehner, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Blake Drexler, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Chris Mullin, Charles Barkley, and Irving Magic Johnson. Segundo y medalla de plata.
Deuxième et médaille d'argent.
Second and silver medalist.
Segon i medalla de plata, l'equip de Croàcia. Integrat per Aramis Naglic, Dino Radza, Arijan Tomasec, Alan Greco, Stojko Brankovic, Zan Tabak, Franjo Arakovic, Vladan Aranovic, Toni Kukoc, Stanko Cetikani, Velimir Perasovic, Andrase Petrovic, tercero y medalla de bronce.
Troisième et médaille de bronze.
Third and bronze medalist.
Tercer i medalla de bronze, l'equip de Lituània. Integrats per Valdemaras Olympius.
And the Lithuanian squad wearing the T-shirts that were donated by the rock group, the Grateful Dead. Grateful Dead members living in the San Francisco area. And they were won over by the stories, the accounts concerning the dedication of Šarūnas Marčiulionis, a member of the Golden State Warriors, and trying to raise money to put together a team from Lithuania. And so they donated T-shirts, which raised a pretty good sum of money. And as a result here, as saying thank you to the Grateful Dead, the T-shirts that have been distributed throughout the Bay Area. And the Lithuanian squad is wearing them here at the medals ceremony.
Šarūnas Marčiulionis. Gintaras Einikis. Y Sergejus Jovaisa. A continuación, escucharemos el himno nacional de los Estados Unidos de América.
Nous allons maintenant écouter l'hymne national des États-Unis d'Amérique.
We shall now listen to the national anthem of the United States of America.
A continuació, escoltarem l'himne nacional dels Estats Units d'Amèrica.
So the gold has returned to United States basketball. Players are motioning for the coaching staff to take its place at the medal stand. Emotional moments for the United States players, raising several questions. Is Magic saying goodbye, or will there be another day on the court for Irvin Magic Johnson? Chris Mullin and Rimas Kurtinaitis of the Lithuanian squad, they became friendly while playing basketball together, several tours that Mullin took part in. In fact, that's where he first met Šarūnas Marčiulionis. Larry Bird indicated earlier in an interview with Quinn Buckner that he will look to play again next season, but this could be his last major career highlight before he officially says goodbye in the uniform of the Boston Celtics. Demonstration of solidarity by the United States men's Olympic basketball team. A conclusion to their 2 weeks in Barcelona. This group may well be the greatest team ever assembled in the history of team sports. They won their games by an average margin of 40+ points. You get the feeling you're attending an exhibition at a concert, and they certainly have been appreciated by their opponents, as you can see. States defeating Croatia by the score of 117-85 to take the gold medal, led by Michael Jordan, who scored 22, and now the crowd responds as the green team heads back to the locker room. The co-captain, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, certainly enjoying the moments as they head back to the Rotunda area here in Badalona. When we come back in just a moment, we'll be chatting with several members of the U.S. men's Olympic basketball team as they have made their way to the goal. We'll be back right after these words.